Spobikimi during Misamikokomiaato, the long night's moon, in the winter of 2016-2017. I spent the first third of the lunar cycle away down in the States. When I left, the pond was still almost just barely frozen over. The river was wide open, there was no snow. Things were pretty warm. When I returned to this, the deep freeze, and not so optimal conditions for recording, at least sound, while in the field. Too much wind. This is the only part of the pond that remained open. The South Pond Spring, and as you can see, there was a northern flicker there. Getting a few drinks of water. Many animals utilize this spring for water. Some also come here to catch fish. Haven't seen the kingfisher for probably a full lunar cycle or so. But I did come across this heron, who I'd been watching through the previous lunar cycle. And here at the South Pond Spring, I finally decided to approach him, and ended up picking him up. He was weak, starving, so I brought him to wildlife rehabilitation in Calgary, and hopefully this spring he'll be released. Maybe I'll be able to release him. At the river, you can see here the big icebergs have all crashed together and fused into giant river coating ice. This was what normally should happen in the second lunar cycle of winter. Didn't occur this year until the third for us. Of course, there's still some little open crags here and there where there's warm water entering the river. And at those open crags, as usual, we see a lot of geese, Opspinix, Canada geese. During the Christmas bird count, which occurred in this lunar cycle, I counted almost 1,000 geese right here north of the high level bridge. And not only were there a lot of geese, but there were also some other waterfowl, in particular common merganser, Misamikokomiaato, and common golden eyes. I think I got a little bit of footage of some of the golden eyes, who are also fish eaters, diving out here for food. There they are. Get in a little bit of a closer shot. See nails there. Nail golden eyes. I think I counted almost 20 during the Christmas bird count along the stretch of the river. Of course, there were lots to see in terms of tracks. It's been snowy throughout much of this lunar cycle. This, of course, is a mouse track. I didn't do any trailing. A lot of times in the winter I'll try to find out where the coyotes are denning and that kind of thing. I have neglected to do any of that so far, but there's still going to be time for that. Lots of animals are just out in the open, evident. This is the forest Maine, and in the trees here, right there, you can see up toward the top of the canopy a porcupine. Lots of porcupine encounters. Pretty much every time I've gone out since I've been home, I've been seeing porcupines. They seem to be eating a lot off of the buds, perhaps, of the bullberries. I tried one of those buds myself, and it It wasn't bad at all. But then, they're also, this is just one on the move. Came across this one during the Christmas bird count. They're also, of course, eaten in the forest canopy. And one of the things that, one of the questions that I had asked a student before, she had wondered how much damage the porcupines did. And I said, well, instead of thinking about it as how much damage are they doing up there, when they gnaw the bark off around the outside of a tree limb, obviously the tree limb is going to die. But then the question, rather than looking at it as damage, perhaps look at it as who uses the dead tree limbs, because of course this was part of our fit into the ecology. Human beings in this region, Mitsitapi, would use the dead tree limbs for firewood, but others would use it as well. This is a old bike ramp one of my friends found up on the coulee slopes years back. He took it out of there and threw it down here in the forest, and because he just didn't like the mountain bikers and the coolies. And presently, there's at least one, maybe two porcupines using that bike ramp as a shelter. There's one of them right there. You can see where it's eating the bark off around that tree limb. But in previous years, that same bike ramp has been used by raccoons. Here's some white-tailed deer. Had quite a few whitetail encounters down in Spobikimi this winter. There's a good-sized little family down there. And most years, there's one or two deer down there, but not often a small herd like this. I think there's probably 7 or 8 deer down there right now. You can catch glimpses of them through the trees, always keeping their distance from me. I believe I took this footage during the Christmas bird count. This was also taken during the bird count. This is an American robin who, there's always some around town all winter, but rarely do I see them down in Spokane this time of year. So I have been seeing this one. No sign of the rock doves during the brutal cold at their usual spot along the coulee rims. Also, I haven't come across any red poles at all yet this winter. No red poles. I haven't been seeing much of the Bohemian waxwings, but then the bullberries in my area were taken out pretty early. So no waxwings, no red poles. It's quite a few smaller birds that I'm not seeing. My friend John Nightingale came across a, what do you call it? A northern shrike right down in this area, the bullberry brush. A little bit after the Christmas bird count, but outside of the count week, the official count week. So normally we'd also see some like house finches down here and some other small birds, but I haven't been seeing any. What I have been seeing is the big guys. This bald eagle. It's a mature eagle. He's been hanging around a lot around Spobikimi in the adjacent section of the river. And I believe this is another piece of footage from bird count day. But yeah, he's hanging out here above the golf greens. Actually, there's a big pile down below. You can't really see it well from here, but of branches and trees that the golf course have cut up like a lumber pile. Lots of small rodents around there. So eagle must be hunting for maybe black rabbits, the mountain cottontail, something like that in that area. Of course, I freaked him out. Eagles are pretty skittish. And so, yeah, that's about it for what I've been seeing. The main things that I've been observing during this lunar cycle. I feel a little bit off, like I'm not paying close enough attention, not getting a lot. It's been very cold, of course, but that's not an excuse. There's lots to observe out there, even during the cold times. So I got to kick up the pace a little bit, or not even the pace. I go out there quite a bit, but I've got to ask more questions. I would pursue more questions. Yeah, so it's the cold time of year for sure. We finally got our winter, even though one lunar cycle later than expected.